In this tutorial, we are going to describe a tool that can help us to load qPCR data files which are not automatically supported when using the load button. Before talking about the custom loader, we will quickly describe the information and the format required to run an analysis. StatMiner is able to read tabular text files with minimum requirements being sample names, detector IDs, and CT values organized independently as one column by category. StatMiner recognizes most common formats from several platforms but can generally run analysis where we provide additional information we have mentioned where the plate, task, well, and efficiency are optional. If our data doesn't belong to supported platforms, we still have the opportunity to tell StatMiner how we could find such information within our data files, and that is exactly what is expected to be defined by us from the custom reader tool. Custom Loader is organized into three sections. On the very left, there is a browser with the input files that we want to check. On the top, a preview of selected file as we would see on any text editor. And finally, a data grid with the 7 mandatory and optional categories of information that we should define for each file. Let's start with the configuration of this file. As we can see, respective columns for detector and sample names have been properly detected, but there is an unknown column name identifier in case of CT and task columns. We only need to select the appropriate column on each case and we are ready to recognize this file. It is important to know that those entries with a missing sample or detector name will be ignored by default. Let us continue with the next file. As we can see, second file has a similar problem and could be fixed by applying the same configuration as the previous file. This is a very common scenario and we don't expect to repeat the same process for every input file. That is why we can ask StatMiner to apply the same settings of selected file to one or more files. Now we see that both files have been properly configured. We are not as lucky with the next file. As we can see, all the information which is useful to us has custom identifiers unrecognized by this application. Because of that, StatMiner Reader is unable to determine where the data block starts. We can fix it by selecting from the left combo the row where the input data starts. As we can see, all entries above are now automatically ignored and define one by one every category. We cannot apply settings from former files because in this case columns are not following the same order. Plate column is not available within the file, so file name will be used instead. We don't really expect to repeat this process every time we run our analysis. As we will see later, all this configuration can be saved to use at a later date. We finished this tutorial with a strange but a real case where almost all of the information has been properly detected, but sample and detector names appear merged on the same input column. Not a problem. Proceeding in a similar way, we are going to select the column where detector identifiers are stored. Set the character separator. And determine which token represents the IDs. In this case, it will be the suffix. We can see in blue the information that will be loaded by the reader. Now it is the turn of the sample identifiers. It is not really mandatory that sample IDs are provided in the same column and can surely be stored in other columns. This split functionality can also be useful in case we want to remove some codes or other useless information pasted into any category. We are now finished and are going to save these configuration settings into a template so that we can use them at a later date. It is recommended that you check the user manual for advanced settings. As we can see, our data has been properly loaded, including all 4 amygdala samples identified in the input files. Next time, if we need to load similar data coming from this platform, we could use the template previously saved to retrieve all qPCR information. Please watch our subsequent tutorials to get a deeper understanding of StatMiner.